Hey everyone, welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 218 and it's titled Master Your Adventure. We'll get into that in just a little bit because there's some new LEGO news coming up, or some new information about Bowser's Fury, some further things to discuss about some Nintendo sales, and a whole bunch more that we're going to get into tonight. So thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Steve, and I get the privilege of talking Nintendo with my friends here. Hey Barry, how's it going?
Hey Steve, always a pleasure, and let's talk Nintendo.
For sure, and also joining us is Greg. Hey Greg.
Everyone, always glad to be here.
Absolutely, and we are so glad that you guys are here, whether you are listening after the fact or you're joining us live. If you are joining us live, we do encourage you guys to just shoot your ideas about anything that we talk about tonight, whether it be what we're playing, what we're looking forward to, any of the Nintendo news that we talk about, any of that stuff. We'd love to hear your opinions and your thoughts about all of this as well. So be sure to join in the live chat room. But if you're watching after the fact, we enjoy reading your comments as well. So be sure to toss those down in the comment section here on YouTube. But if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, number one, be sure to hit that subscribe button on any platform that you are on. But also, shoot us a message on social media, or be sure to join our Discord. We absolutely love talking Nintendo games with you guys, especially like between the shows. That's just a really cool opportunity to kind of just kick back and chat with you guys, and we do that in our Discord and on our social media, so be sure to join those as well. One quick note that right up here at the beginning, let's just get this out of the way. We got some giveaways to do, and I know we didn't get a chance to actually talk about it. What do you guys think about this plan? Like, should we just do the whole comment thing? Subscribe and comment here on YouTube. That sound good?
Yep, sounds good to me.
However you want to do it.
Cool. All right. Well, here you've heard it said that was our staff meeting. We've made a decision. We're moving forward. So yeah, all you got to do. We've got some games to give away, codes and things like that. So we'll do that on our. How about we do that on our next podcast? So you get a week to do it. Just subscribe. So be a subscriber to our YouTube channel and leave a comment on this video, and we'll pick people at random for the next podcast. So that would be when we go live on January 26th with episode 219. And just to clear things up, the chat room does not count. So you need to actually leave a real comment. So if you're chatting in the chat room, that's cool, but just leave one after the fact in the actual comment section. That way we can go back and find it later and pick some winners at random for next week. So share it out. Make sure that other people get a chance as well. All they got to do is be a subscriber and also leave a comment on this video, and that's it. So cool. Well, it's time to jump into this week's podcast episode. Of course, talking about what we've been playing lately, and let's go to Greg first.
Ooh, switching it up. I like it. All right, so definitely not quite as lengthy as last time, but still kind of a little bit longer of a list. So it's probably Barry's last me beat. So let's just jump right into it. Still been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's kind of more on like the downfall right now. I haven't really been doing as much, just doing a few daily things, and it's very minimal at this point. Still waiting for that update to come later this month. Been playing a ton of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I got really looped into doing my daughter's playthrough on the adventure mode, so I almost have that beat. I didn't actually beat it on my own profile, so it'll be pretty cool to actually see the final ending to it. I've awakened all the fighters, and it's just like a few more spirit battles left, and then the very final battle there. So that's very exciting to get that done. We just got Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. So even though the Rio Olympics were pushed back from all the events of last year, that game still had released, and it's pretty decent. Some of the motion controls I don't really appreciate, but I do like that they have like actual like manual press buttons options instead. So instead of just like shaking the remote, they'll like, oh, hit A like repeatedly. So that is the much better way to play that. I did check out that 8-bit mode, and that's pretty cool. Some of the events they translated into if it were to appear like on the NES or Sega Genesis because Sonic's in it. So it was pretty cool to see all the original sprites. But the main thing is they didn't really add any new sprites. So it's pretty much only like Mario, Bowser, Toad, and Peach, and like Sonic, Dr. Eggman, and Tails, and like one other one. So it's like very minimal character selection for the 8-bit mode, which kind of stinks. And then finally, to wrap up the Switch, was playing some Splatoon 2. Finally did get to level 4 to finally unlock the salmon run and stuff, so I haven't played that yet. Was still working on the story mode. On my daughter's profile, she did buy her own copy of the game with her some of her Christmas money. So now we have 2 copies of Splatoon 2, and got to try out some of the local play, and that's kind of interesting. It's kind of hard playing one-on-one for Turf War, but I guess it is what it is. So it still allows her to be able to win and get practice and get better. So not having to be under threat of getting shot, like splatted by other players. Then the only non-Switch title outside the mobiles was just Mario Party 8. She was getting more back into this one to try out some of the games. We haven't really done a ton of 8. It's been mostly 9, so it's kind of nice to jump back there. And then still doing Fire Emblem Heroes on mobile. That wraps up what I've been doing the last week.
Nice. Well, it's good to hear that the COVID didn't affect the Mushroom Kingdom and their Olympics, even though ours may get pushed back again or canceled altogether. So, Jakester says that
They're
he
nice. They
finished.
don't have to wear masks or anything.
That's true. Yeah, they didn't have to go through testing or anything. Jakester said he finished his first run of Trials of Mana and got back into Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, and did get FGO and Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact, which is our his regulars. And then he said Knuckles. I don't know if you were trying to think of Knuckles, but Jakester just said Knuckles, Greg.
I didn't remember the 8th one off the bat.
Okay.
I figured I spotted one now.
I figured that was probably it, and he wasn't just talking about your Knuckles. Like, that'd be weird.
Yep.
Barry, what have you been up to this last week?
So my week has been pretty normal for the most part. I actually really didn't touch the Switch much until today. I did Animal Crossing still, and I started and tried the Monster Hunter Rise demo, and I'll say I wasn't a fan of it. Like it just felt sluggish, and that could be because of something else I was playing, and sometimes when you come off of one game and play another game that has a similar feeling, you expect the same kind of fluidity, and it just didn't have that for me. Yeah. So that could be a factor. And I started a game which I've owned for a while, but I never even really gave much time of thought to it. But people said, oh, if you like Zero Escape, you'll probably like this game. It's called Raging Loop. It's a visual novel, and I started it today. I've gone through my first playthrough because it's one where you have to go back in the flowchart, and I'm really enjoying it. The story's really left enough of a mystery to me that I said I want to find out more. So I'm really happy with that. On the PS4 and 5 front, because last week I talked about how I started my first marathon of 2021, which was Devil May Cry, and I did the first 3 games, and I just started the 4th, and this week I did the rest of the 4th game. I did the 5th game, and I also did DMC, the failed reboot. And I'm also watching the anime. Like I really and reading the books. Like I really like when I do a marathon, I try to do everything I can, to digest the media. And I will say I came away overall pleasantly surprised with the DMC series. I did have a lot of fun. I do like the characters. I'm interested in a 6. A 6 is one of those that I will definitely play right away. 5 is just a fantastic game. And I know a lot of people didn't like DMC, but I will say I really enjoyed DMC style. Now, what I mean by that is it's like playing the movie Inception or like Doctor Strange. It's really cool in that sense. And some people wanted more action. They weren't a fan of the platforming, and I like the platforming. So for me, it was really, really stylistically cool. Obviously, very different than the other games. And I will say, if you play the other 5 games first, like I did, you can see the big twist coming a mile away. Like the second it started, it was like, oh yeah, I know exactly where you're going with this because it's supposed to be a reboot. But that being said, I still recommend it, and I definitely think it's worth playing and checking out. So I'm happily done with that marathon. But again, coming from Devil May Cry to Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Rise just felt so sluggish. Like I wanted to dodge roll and do all this kind of real cool acrobatic stuff, and I'm just not doing it. And I'm like, oh, I should be pressing this button to jump, and I'm not jumping, and what the heck? And it just did not resonate with me at all. I hate to say it. Other than that, PC mode, I'm still playing Final Fantasy 14. A bunch of new content still, lots of just fun raids, and just working on cap and tomes, and I always love that game. That game is just so well done and so worth your time. And on mobile, still doing Dragalia, waiting for that Persona 5 crossover to come out. And unlike Greg, I'm still playing Mario Kart Tour because I just enjoy competing in it.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like I felt like that way when you're talking about like the sluggishness and everything. This is like years ago, but when I went back to playing the original Smash Brothers after I played newer ones, and you don't realize how sluggish it is until you play the new ones, and you're like, oh, how did I do this? But it was fine at the time. So.
Well, a lot of it is it's perspective and perception, and it's like I played Horizon right after playing Breath of the Wild, and I think that was a mistake because I wanted that freedom to climb anywhere, and you can't do it in Horizon. And I think if I was doing Horizon now, I would enjoy it more. Yeah. And it's the same way. One great example from just staying on one system, not even jumping between systems, is on the N64. There was a franchise that started by Acclaim, and one of my favorite franchises that unfortunately is dead is called Extreme G. There were 4 games in the series, and the first 2 were N64 exclusives. And if you play the second game and you just pop it in and play it, you'll be like, this game is really good. But if you take it out and you play the first game and then put the second game immediately out, you will feel like you are going through molasses. And it's supposed to be like an F-Zero fast racing game, and you will feel like, oh my god, please, those little motorized scooters will go faster, because Extreme G1 is just so fast, and Extreme G2, like, it's so slow in comparison. But if you only play Extreme G2, you're like, all right, this is pretty cool. So a lot of times it does depend on what you're currently accustomed to as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I have a question though, because I know you do these marathon events sometimes. Like, would you? I mean, clearly you keep doing them, so I know you like doing them. But do you recommend other people like to do that kind of thing, or are there downsides
100%.
to it that like you'd say maybe second guess it?
There are always downsides. I did a lot of them last year, and I don't regret doing them. I think that it's the best way to experience a franchise, because you don't have to wait, months or years, or even decades in some cases, between installments. And you could also see how a series evolves. So like I just did DMC, like playing the first Devil May Cry, it's incredibly dated. It took me a while to get used to the controls. But by the 5th game, most of those controls were the same. So it was great. I was able to just play right through. When I did Uncharted, the first 3 games, the controls are the same. And then with the 4th game, it was like, wait a second, what? They changed reload. Like it in a case like that, it kind of like took me a few tries to relearn it. But I think marathoning a series in its entirety, and I'm not saying like 100% every game, platinum trophy every game, or like, I'm not doing that. I'm playing on the easiest. I'm playing, the story content and maybe some additional content, or hunting a few trophies here or there that I'm like, oh, you know what, I can get that and it's fun. But I think just by experiencing that, you get to experience what makes a franchise or a series so great. And a lot of these, like Devil May Cry, the first one came out, I think, 2001. So you're talking about a 20-year-old franchise. It's celebrating its 20th year. I'd never experienced it before. And, there's fans of this franchise for, so many years. And it's like, cool, I tried it back on the PS2, and the first boss kicked my butt. I will say this, Devil May Cry 1's first boss, unless you know the controls, will kick your butt. And you can't actually choose easy mode until you beat that boss. So it's like, oh yeah, this boss. Great. But once you get past that, if you want to switch to easy, by all means. And it's one of those games where if you play through easy, you power yourself up, and then if you say, I want to play on a harder difficulty now, you keep that powered up. So you keep your life upgrade, you keep your Devil Buster upgrade, and it's like cool, or Devil Trigger upgrade, and it's like great. Now I can go through on the harder difficulties, and I'm a little more accustomed to the game, and I like that. I like games that it's not like it's you have to start all over from scratch and level everything up again. But I do recommend it, and it's same with if someone said I want to do a Zelda franchise, marathon, play through all the Zelda games. Like that's fantastic. Metroid, it's obviously the smaller number of games. It's a little more digestible, but just play to your heart's content, and don't feel like you absolutely have to play a game. Like if you start playing a game and you're like, oh, this installment sucks, like just skip it, move on. But at least you have that experience, you have that exposure, and you can talk about it. And I think it's really cool. And I plan to do more of them this year. I've mentioned Yakuza, which is a bigger one, but I'm still looking at what other ones I want to do and just have fun with it. Just not February. February is going to be a packed month.
Right. We'll get into that in a second. I have been playing not that many games this last week. Life got busy and kind of crazy, and some other things that are not Nintendo related that I won't talk about, but we'll just say life got kind of crazy. So I played some Rocket League, of course, and played a little bit of Animal Crossing. The game that I can add new to the list is also something that Greg talked about earlier, was Splatoon 2. So went back and fired up Splatoon for the first time in months, maybe over a year. I think it's been over a year since I played it. It was actually surprising how quickly I got back into it. And I was enjoying it again. Really, I fired it up to play in the Splatfest to qualify for the Nintendo coins or pins and everything. And the next thing I know, I was just planning on playing one just to get my game in, and that's on. And the next thing I know, it was like an hour or something like later, and I was still playing in the game. So that was fun just to play around again. There's still some issues, networking issues and things like that. I had one time where the game crashed on me, and another time a couple times where either in the matchmaking or actually right in the middle of the match, it just reset and took everything back and sent me back to the main menu because some networking issue on someone's end. I don't know whose. I'll blame Nintendo, but overall it was still fun, and it was definitely a game that I was like, if I had the time, I would probably get back into, because it's a blast to play for sure. But speaking of the that little pin set, I know we've been chatting in our Discord server a little bit. Share some grievances you got about that. Barry, I know you got some strong feelings around that whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they screwed people over the first time around, which is not the way you do an anniversary. But then the second time around, when they're like, oh, you need 15 missions, and 6 of those missions, out of 20 at the time, 6 of them were already expired. You couldn't do them. If you just said, oh, wow, I want to go for it, and you're starting now, 6 of them you can't do, which turns that into 14 possible, which is 1 less than you need to get the pin. So it's impossible for now a new player or a new person that just wants to get it. They've since added 2 more missions, a whole 2, meaning now you can do it if you get all but one. But one of them was the Splatfest, which is over. So technically now there's exactly 15 you can do, and only 15 you can do. And if you don't do, and one of them requires Cold Stone, which actually you can't. You can still redeem the code, but you can't get a new code.
You can't get it.
So if you haven't bought, so technically there's 14 that you can do now. You can still put in a code if you have a code for Cold Stone, but otherwise there's 14. So you can't even do it. If you were just said now, hey, I want to get a set, you can't do it. That, to me, that's the wrong way to honor the most important video game character in the history of video games. That is the worst way to say thank you to the fans for making, your series so successful, and for keeping you in business and making money. I mean, it should be a celebration. It shouldn't be a source of frustration.
Yeah.
And that's a very Nintendo thing to do. Like, how can we screw this up? Let's ask Nintendo. They're probably going to do it somehow. And they did. And if you ask me, like, I think there should be 30 missions. And if there's 7 that you can't do now, great. That still leaves 23. You should make it so that anybody can enter. And then, most importantly, even after all that, make sure there's enough for everybody, because the last time they went on sale so randomly, like they went on sale the day before 3D All Stars came out. I happened to be on my phone when I got the notification that I can go buy it immediately, and I went, and the whole site was crashing, and it was frustration and constantly refreshing. And after like 45 minutes of refreshing, I said, screw it, it's not worth it. I then got a notification that it was back, and I went back and I got a code, and then they sold out like 30 minutes later. And people who were at work or who were expecting to buy the game that came out the next day to get the pins, it was already sold out. Yeah. That is the worst way to honor, your fans and celebrate. And even though I knew there was going to be a second pin set, and a lot of the missions did require you putting in time other games, like the Splatoon 2 thing. There was Smash Brothers Invitational or something. There was Mario Kart Tour, and there was play all these other games. And Mario Kart Tour I can forgive, because at least that's a free game. But like to do the Smash Brothers one, you had to buy Smash Brothers. To do the Splatoon 2 one, you had to buy Splatoon 2. So you had to spend extra money on top of that. And these were required to get the 15, and it's pretty much, unless you got lucky. And even the Cold Stone, you had to buy ice cream, but still, it's just, you shouldn't be punished. Yeah. How dare you? You missed out. We're gonna punish you. It's bad enough that they're actually punishing people by taking the games away in March, but now it's just further punishment. Yeah. I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah, I was planning on going to get the Cold Stone just the other day, just to kind of secure and make sure that I had 16 instead of 15, just in case randomly they decide, hey, you don't have to actually wait till you get 3D World to redeem this. And I was standing in line, and luckily there was a long line and only one worker there, which gave me the opportunity to pull up my phone, reread the fine print, and realize, nope, it's already done. Even though they say you can still redeem it, yeah, you had to buy the ice cream before December 15th or something like that. So, nope, I missed out, and so popped back my car, and so hopefully they don't do some crazy thing this time around, and I actually am able to get it. But who knows? Yeah, Greg, you said you've got all the qualifications already. You've been on top of this time.
Yeah, I was kind of been following the Mario missions as they were kind of launching for the most part. And then I had a few month break and missed a few of them, but I definitely signed up for the Ninja speedrun for Mario Maker 2, and then even remembered to log on and do it. I was trying to do this Splatfest, but apparently it ended in the middle of the day now, so that wasn't very fun. It told me all about it when I logged in, and then by the time we were done playing our co-op stuff, then it was oh, let's go join the Splatfest. Oh, Splatfest is over. What? Why is this over in the middle of the day? I thought it was all the way end of day on the 17th. This is, I don't know who designs these kind of things, but that's pretty bad.
That's the ongoing question. Who designs these kind of things?
Yep, and then for Mario Kart Tour, it wasn't entirely free. You had to buy an Android device because it doesn't work very good on Apple devices. So there's an ongoing issue that they still haven't fixed, that if you have any sort of save data from a previous tour, then they pretty much have to cancel, delete all of unlink your data, and that takes 3 weeks to do. So.
All right.
So you weren't able to actually participate in it unless you actually had an Android device, which magically works.
Interesting. Well, we'll see if we actually, in a couple weeks, if we can, we'll at least be playing 3D World and Bowser's Fury, but we'll see if we actually get to qualify per our pin set and actually get it this time. Knowing me, I'll miss out again, and Barry may just happen to be there at the right place at the right time, and we'll see what happens to Greg.
Can you please at me if you see the live, Barry? Because I'm at 15 out of 15 right now, so
let's move into some news.
Was yours. You're supposed to purchase the game instead of sending them out early.
Let's move into some news, and we have some somewhat big news. Lego and Nintendo, of course, have had this ongoing this adventure sets and all these different things that they've continued to put out. Greg's recently jumped into it and everything. And Greg, tell us about this brand new set that they just announced called Master Your Adventure.
Yeah, so as you've already said the name, the Master Adventure set is kind of more of like a add-on for the normal starter course. So if you purchase the main starter course, like I have right here, for those that are listening, it pretty much gives you some add-on pieces, which include a few characters like Larry, a Bomb, and like Koopa Troopas and a Goomba. So then you have at least a boss and a few other different enemies. Then there's a number of platforms. So then you can have some extra lava tiles, water tiles, and grass tiles for the different sound effects. And then, of course, all the other interactive platform tiles for them to like jump on and bounce off of each thing. So it's like 366 pieces worth of Legos. That will cost $60, and it's available to be purchased today. So yeah, I don't know if I'll end up getting this, but I don't know what you guys think, or if it more entice you guys to sign on board too.
Yeah, Barry, what do you think about all this?
It was one of those things where when I first saw the Lego Mario, the collector in me wanted it all. Like a son, I just wanted it all. But in the back of my mind, be the end. There would be more. This is Lego. There will be more. And seeing this, I am happy for those that love this. I'm happy for those that collect this and have the room for it and can play with it, and all the kids out there that are playing with it. I am ecstatic for you. But I'm also very happy that I didn't get in and I don't have to worry about this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, I think that's really it. Like, I was kind of on the fence, in the beginning anyway, and thinking, okay, do I really need this? Like, it's really more of a collector kind of thing. It'd be cool to own. But yeah, I mean, the more stuff they release, the more I go, I'm really glad I didn't start. Because my bank account would be crying right now, I think, because I'd want to get all of the sets. I mean, I talked about it in the last podcast of like the fact that they keep coming out with new Hot Wheels, Mario Kart racers and stuff like that. Like I keep buying more and more, and they're a lot cheaper than Lego, thank goodness. But still, like it adds up over time, like $60 here, $70 there, $30 there, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, I've spent a lot of money on these Lego sets that are really, like, I set them up one time and kind of played around, and now they're on a shelf, and that's all they do is just sit there. Yeah, I'm still of the opinion though, like I think they need to, I think it was cool the NES that they made is awesome. I think they need to be making like Bowser's Castle, Peach's Castle, things like that you can actually build. And I could get excited about that and possibly, buy that sort of thing. But I don't know. I mean, like, I love the fact that they keep doing it, but it's not convinced me to get into it yet. But Greg, you've jumped in. Why convince us why it's worth it?
Well, I think it more helps if you have like a child to share it with. Like my daughter's like the prime age for Legos. We've been playing Legos a ton, so it gave me more reason to be able to like enjoy that like with her. Yeah. So like, admittedly, we haven't played a ton with the Mario Legos like recently, but like when I was first putting them together, we played with them quite a lot. So don't think I need too many more. I mean, I was kind of just trying to do some pick and choose of some things that I thought were kind of cool and things that I like Yoshi. But I don't think I need to buy a whole thing just for Larry. So like, it would be cool to get it and have it, but I don't think I need like too many more of them unless it's like an absolute favorite item of ours. So, I mean, the second they add like a Peach or a Daisy, then I know I'm kind of screwed there and have to get that set because Belle absolutely loves like Peach and Daisy. So, or even
Yeah, you make a
Rosalina.
good point too, Greg. I mean, you have a daughter to play these with, and if I had a child, that would be a different thing. I would get it to play with my son or my daughter, absolutely, because I loved Legos growing up. But as I'm not in that stage right now, I can safely skip these, and hopefully at that time I could find a yard sale group. Here's a big bag of Lego Mario stuff. $10, get it off my get it out of my house. Okay, here we go. Let's play.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, who knows? Like, I wonder. Yeah, I wonder how long how long they will go, and how long the price point, I guess, would stay there before you do find them, in a bargain bin and in a garage sale or something like that, where people just start getting rid of it. But yeah, let us know in the comments, like when you're leaving, comments about to join our giveaway for next episode. Let us know what you think about the Lego sets. If that's something that you're jumping on and loving getting, or if you're like, yeah, I don't really care at all, or maybe somewhere in between. Let us know what you guys think about that. Let's move on because after our podcast last episode, we talked about this little game that's coming out in a few weeks called Super Mario World, or 3D World, plus Bowser's Fury, because we got a 2-minute, was it 2 minutes? Like 2-minute trailer?
Yeah, it was like 2 minutes.
Something like that they hyped up like crazy. And then we talked about it. And the next morning, they dropped, was it like a 7-minute, 10-minute? I don't know, whatever. Longer trailer.
7
It
minutes.
was like
Yeah.
7
They
or
gave
8
us
minutes, something like that.
even more information. So, Barry, what did they share, and why should we be excited about this game, or maybe not so excited?
Well, last podcast I stated my fears for what I was hoping it wasn't, and unfortunately, it seems I called it. It definitely seems it's going to be along the lines of what I was saying. But what we did learn is that the world is going to be an open world, and it's not going to be entirely accessible right off the bat. So in order to unlock new areas, you have to run around, and you have Bowser Jr. as your companion. Bowser Jr. can be either AI controlled, or a second player can play. So there's a little co-op there, which is cool. And you're looking all over for cat shines. And we know that the series of islands, they're on Lake Lapcat is the area. So we get these cat shines, and after we get enough of them, it unlocks the big bell that you see. And what will happen is when it goes from like sunny to stormy, Bowser is coming. And when Bowser comes, and he rains fire and all this stuff. And if you've collected enough cat shines, you can go and take on Bowser. Beating Bowser will send him back into his little shell, and will unlock another location. So I don't know how many locations there are to do. I don't know if when you finish it, you could just run around and have fun, or Bowser will continuously attack. But this is definitely something that, I was fearful that it was just going to be random when it happened. And obviously, if you haven't got enough cat shines, you could either take cover, or you can use like the blocks he makes to create, platforms. But the other thing we learned is that in the original Mario 3D World, in addition to all the other collectibles, one of the collectibles in each level were stamps. And you use those stamps on Miiverse. Well, Miiverse is dead now, so I wasn't sure if they were actually going to keep the stamps. Thankfully, they are keeping the stamps, but they showed off what they're used for. It's used in a snapshot mode, which is just taking pictures, and then you can put stamps all over the pictures. Yay. Like, you can make it like on the wall, you can make different characters. I mean, I guess it's a good use in a way for what already exists. But still, it's not like, ooh, I gotta play it again so I can put a bomb on a wall. Yay! But I'm looking forward to giving this a shot. At least the Bowser's Fury. I just hope it's not too frequent. Like, if Bowser attacks every 30 minutes, I think that's acceptable. But if he attacks every 5 minutes, I'm just gonna be like, screw you.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. Like, on top of that you can summon Bowser with the amiibo, as well. So
yes, automatically.
that seems interesting too. It seems like what you're saying. It is kind of random, and you can like make it even, I guess, less random. But yeah, what's the point? Like, why would you want to do that? Like, it is interesting. I don't know.
I see using it if there's a cat shine that you absolutely need his breath platforms to get to, summoning him, or if you have the five shines or whatever you need to go on to the next island, and you're waiting for him. You're like, shit, I just want to go. You know, how long do I have to wait? Like the one time I actually wanted to show up, he's not showing up. Then force it when you're ready to battle to move on. But otherwise, yeah, unless you just really want the challenge, and some people will just do it. Maybe just for that rock music. That music was awesome.
It's true. It's true. Just to summon that every time. Yeah, Greg, what do you think of now what we know even more about Bowser's Fury?
It's definitely very interesting. I'm kind of excited for like the Odyssey 3D World kind of crossover, but as Barry's already shared his doubts on like the Bowser aspect, I don't know if I am fully behind like the randomness of it. I mean, I believe we'll be getting the game at some point this year because my daughter's super into 3D World. We've been playing on Wii U a lot, so I imagine we'll be getting it. I hope to get it around launch time. I don't know if we will, but yeah, I would hope it turns out good. I've also seen a few other reports saying that like the Bowser's Fury mode's actually unlocked right when you power up the game, so you don't have to even play 3D World if you don't want to. So I did want to make sure that got mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like I know a lot of other people. I can't remember if we mentioned this as well, but a lot of people are thinking that, are wondering, speculating that this game mode may have been planned for an Odyssey expansion or something like that, because they say it looks and feels, at least as much as you can feel it from just seeing the trailers, that it feels more like Odyssey than 3D World. It's not like an addition, like the cat stuff, of course, is following 3D World, but the style of gameplay and stuff like that follows more of Odyssey. Yeah, what do you guys think? Is there any? I mean, is there any truth, do you think, in any of that maybe this actually was designed to be something for Odyssey, but then got saved and attached to 3D World? What do you think, Barry?
I mean, it's always a possibility. Who's to say? Nintendo likes to recycle things and move things over, and we don't know if COVID had any effect on this as well. I mean, it certainly helps to entice people to pick up a game they may have already had with a substantial new mode, and it's great for those that never had a Wii U, to say, oh wow, and never got to experience 3D World, and now I'm getting two games for the price of one, because they're billing it pretty much as a whole new game. And I'm wondering the content, is this a whole new game that's going to be finished in 4 hours, or is this a whole new game that's going to take you 20 hours? And that really matters to me. But I do think, while there's definitely elements of Odyssey here, I mean, it's almost like a mix. There's obviously the cat elements from 3D World, and then Bowser Jr.'s got his paintbrush like Sunshine.
Right.
So I think that's really, really cool that they're mixing these elements. I can't say yay or nay on whether or not it was an Odyssey thing. I know we were waiting for Odyssey DLC for the longest time. We expected it. Nintendo's been really weird with DLC. They've been on the ball with Zelda and with Splatoon and with ARMS and with Xenoblade 2, and they've dropped the ball with Odyssey and Super Mario Party and Mario Kart and stuff like that. So it could very well be.
Yeah, that's true. Jakester said it'd be interesting if it was linked to Odyssey, considering Mario would finally have a power-up in Odyssey. It's true. I never really thought about that I guess he didn't really officially have power-ups in Odyssey. But yeah, Greg, do you think this is this a good, like with 3D World and Bowser's Fury, is this like, considering the other things that we've seen from Mario's 35th anniversary, is this good enough, or does Nintendo need to do more than just bring out 3D World again, add on Bowser's Fury in addition to what they've done already? Is this good, or are we hoping for more? I mean, I guess we're always hoping for more, but do you expect more?
Yeah, I think in terms of the anniversary stuff, I think this is like the capstone to be completed. But I mean, I kind of wish they would have had more things because a lot of it was just recycling some older stuff for the most part. So I mean, it was like the 3D All Stars, which is just 3 ports, and then it was this with like an extra game mode. I mean, to me, it did feel like it would fit into Odyssey because just the way that it was designed and how you're collecting like the cat shines and all that, and it's kind of like a throwback to Sunshine, which wasn't really part of the original Mario Odyssey. So I know sometimes they have a lot of those ideas that didn't quite make it into the final game, and they always like to put it into different games or newer versions, and maybe they didn't have enough to justify in Odyssey 2, so therefore, like, oh, we had this really great idea for a world in Odyssey, maybe we can work it into 3D World too. So I don't know, I feel like that's why I feel like that link is kind of strong there. And yeah, I don't know if it's worth quite the price, and I wish they would have obviously had more Mario stuff, but kind of a shame that a lot of it just disappears at the end of March.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true as well. Yeah, this seems like it really, it's almost like they maybe had this in the wings and they didn't really know where to include it. Let's just include it there. That way we can still charge $60 for 3D World instead of, bumping it down to $50. But essentially we're getting Bowser's Fury for $10 on top. It almost seems like that sort of thing. But yeah, I think I think Bowser's Fury is interesting. Number one is bringing some new elements. I mean, we've never seen, Mario this big before as well as Bowser. Kind of like bring in the Japanese kind of style into this for sure. But also, yeah, playing on the older games. I mean, it does harken back to Odyssey, but like as you guys said, Sunshine. Several different things that connects to Sunshine, or even back to the original Super Mario Brothers. How Bowser is shooting the fireballs and they're coming toward him at different heights and stuff like that. It very much harkens back to the original dungeons and being able to see Bowser just shooting fire at Mario, and you got to overcome that and go and knock him in the fire pit or whatever. So it's kind of cool that it does pull from several different iterations of the Mario franchise, and it is kind of a cool little capstone. I think you're right on, Greg. I think we probably shouldn't expect anything beyond this. This is kind of like the way they'll finish celebrating Mario's 35th year.
Until they take it all away.
Yeah, that's right. Until it goes away after a month. No. This game is not going away after a month. Other games maybe, but this one not so much.
That's like the only thing that's not going away from the party.
Pretty much. Well, you get the Mario stuff in Animal Crossing, I guess. That just
that will
arrives.
Be limited too.
But it's
gonna be like a limited time event that you have to like log in through the month of March.
So many limited time things. Well. Here's something else that's unlimited, or that is limited. Sales, New Year's sales. Act now. But Nintendo did put out some amazing sales just to celebrate the new year. A few days after the new year. But hey, you know what? I'm not going to complain because that gives me more time to purchase these. So if you haven't seen these, make sure you do head over to Nintendo.com or your eShop. There's some great games for some pretty inexpensive prices on here. I mean, we talked about Clubhouse games. We talked about several of these games on our Game of the Year list, and many of them are like 30% off or something. Like Clubhouse games, normally $40. It's on sale for $28. Immortals, Phoenix Rising, normally $60, on sale for $40. Super Mario Maker, on sale for $42, normally $60. I mean, the list goes on and on. One of my recent favorite games, only $5 off, but still, it's a pretty good deal for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, down to $25.50. Some great games, some older games on there, but also some newer games. So if you haven't checked out your eShop or just Nintendo.com, make sure you head over there and check out these deals. And it's not just first-party games; it's also third-party games on there as well. Already mentioned Ori, but like Aladdin and Lion King that recently came out, normally $30, it's on sale for $12. So some really, really good deals. Have you guys looked through this list, and do you plan on picking up any of them, or maybe have you already picked them up because they're on sale? Greg, have you been able to look it over?
Yeah, I've already gone through the list, and that's kind of why I even said earlier that we got a second copy of Splatoon 2, because we went to disc replay and it was $50 for a physical version, and I was like, well, I know they're still doing the New Year sale, so we can get it for $40 on the eShop. So pretty much just put the card back in the store, went home and opened up the eShop and bought our copy of Splatoon 2. So we've already dived into that a little bit. I mean, I'm unsure if I want to get a few of these other ones that seem really interesting. I know that the Castlevania collection and stuff is on sale, and I have to double check to make sure I got that. And along with, I don't know, I might even be tempted to get like Aladdin and Lion King, because it seems like it would be kind of fun to have just those retro games like for a nice price. So I'll definitely be further reviewing before these all go away.
Yeah. Barry, I know you're physical, but any of these eShop deals exciting enough for you to maybe download a couple?
I mean, they're great deals, and there's some really great games there. Just looking through the list, but it's either ones I already have, or if it's digital only, it's ones that I don't have time to play them currently because I have other things on my schedule. So I'll wait. Hopefully there will be a physical.
Mm-hmm.
What amazes me is that ARMS is still $60. Nintendo games do not drop in value.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Normally it is. For the next few days it is. Jakester said that Last Campfire is tempting. I know another game that I skipped over earlier, but I saw Barry, you're a big fan of. I think Greg, you are too. Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon too.
Yes.
On there, $9.74. Is that a steal?
Yes. Absolutely.
I wish I didn't have bought it for full price.
Yeah. So
even I'm kind of feeling this sting on like Immortals. I'm like, I could have saved like $20. I mean, I haven't even played it yet, and
yeah. There's a few games that I'm looking at. Some of the older games as well. A game that I have been on the fence about buying for years, even before it finally came to a Nintendo system, is Castle Crashers. And I was like, is this the time to get it? Because it's only $9. Is this the time? I'm not sure. So I may end up picking that up. We'll see. But this is there's a bunch of games on this list, I think, that one could, like, it's no big deal to like purchase it now while it's on sale, and then put it on your backlog, put it on your digital shelf, and go back to it later. I don't think you're gonna necessarily miss out. I mean, some of these games you haven't played yet anyway, so but it's definitely, these kind of sales at this price don't always come around, so maybe it's the time to get them now, even if you can't play it until summer or later. So, all right. Well, that wraps up our big news discussion, but there's a few other headlines we'd like to just quickly go through to make sure that you guys know about them. There's not a whole lot of discussion to go around these. So we got several stories that we just want to run through the basic details of, and then maybe kind of go around and discuss them all at the very end. As we're going through them, feel free to discuss them as usual in the chat room and the live chat room, and also after the fact, if you any thoughts around any of these, be sure to let us know in the comments as well. But Greg, let's kick us off and tell us about this Mario 35 word count or world count challenge.
Yeah, so this one's actually hot off the presses. It was announced earlier this morning. Nintendo of America confirmed or announced that the Super Mario Bros. 35 World Count Challenge will kick off on January. Actually, I guess yes, at 11 p.m. on January 18th. So it's just reading the date out of order on the article, and apologize. So then, pretty much, joins all the players together worldwide in a massive effort to defeat 3.5 million Bowsers. If players can achieve this, then all all participating players defeating at least one Bowser can claim 350 My Nintendo Platinum points. So they pretty much issued a tweet and offering everybody a challenge to defeat at least one Bowser between today and January 25th.
All right.
Well, for those of you that are still playing Mario Kart, there is actually a brand new tournament happening on this month in January 2021. It is the Mario Kart North American Open. It runs from January 29th to the 31st. This is the first tournament of the new year. And the top 8 players from each day will receive 2,500 gold points. That's a lot, actually.
Nice. Nintendo just started a new Twitter account. It's going to be specifically delivering corporate investor relations news. So this is, of course, important around all the investor news that typically either does come out and everything. But they've said that they're not planning on replying or responding to any message that's sent to this. This is just simply to help get the news out there about investor news and kind of corporate kind of things. So probably no kind of game announcements or anything like that on this this Twitter account, but it could be interesting to subscribe or to follow. So maybe head over there and follow it. It's at Nintendo Co Ltd. So that's Nintendo Co Ltd.
And it's hot on everybody's mind is a game called Bayonetta 3. So Platinum Games is still behind the development scene on it, and they, one of the producers, I guess, Kamaya, I don't know, I definitely butchered that, was on an Arcade Archive stream. He had like a phone conversation with the hamster boss, Satoshi Hamada, and pretty much was translated by Nintendo Everything. So it's like Kamada was saying, "Oh, I see you're busy with new projects," and then he's like, "Well, I suppose I've been working on stuff like Bayonetta 3, but I can't say much. I'm hoping to give an update during the year." So that's like the big takeaway here is that we should finally get some more updated news item on Bayonetta 3 and hopefully release timing or at least see an update regarding that. Another thing that was mentioned in this short phone conversation was that he hopes to announce some other unannounced projects he's working on. So there could be other games tied for Nintendo Switch or other platforms as well. So definitely keep an eye on Platinum Games throughout this year to get some updates on their games.
Because Nintendo is going to buy them.
Let's hope so. So, were you guys looking forward to Super Nintendo World opening last year in 2020 for the Olympics? Were you also looking forward to it after you saw that wonderful, wonderful direct that Miyamoto took us on? Well, if you were looking forward to that February 4th release of opening day, too bad. It has been canceled, postponed. COVID strikes again. That's right. Super Nintendo World is now postponed with no date actually set right now. So who knows when it's going to open, if it's ever going to open. I guess those poor Goombas will just be walking eternally by themselves and no one will hit that POW block. And forget about your little watch because it's not happening. Well,
So
at least
sad.
not right now.
So sad.
Here.
We may get the ones in the United States before.
You may.
So lastly, the Nintendo NPD results are in for December 2020, and Nintendo Switch is yet again on top, even beating out the brand new systems. They were the best-selling video game hardware in terms of units and dollar sales in 2020, making a 25-month run of domination. So congratulations, Nintendo, for being on top once again, topping the top 10 best sellers for Switch: Animal Crossing, Mario Kart 8, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Hyrule Warriors. No surprises there at all. All great games. And congratulations again to Nintendo for topping the list yet again, even in the face of brand new systems. So yeah, any thoughts about any of these stories as you guys think back to any of them? Any surprising thoughts or any additional things you'd like to say? Greg, anything?
I definitely know the Twitter thing was certainly very interesting. I mean, I kind of checked it out, and a lot of the stuff is people like asking him questions like, "Oh, when's like Metroid Prime 4 coming?" and like asking stuff that's like they're not even already said they weren't going to handle there. So I think it's still kind of funny that people think they could try to get Nintendo to respond to those kinds of things. So I mean, I know they're just doing it for visibility, but I mean, it's not like they're going to like, "Oh, by the way, we meant to announce like, oh, there's a Nintendo Direct or something." I mean. It's still going to be like the main account that covers this. It's just going to be like those investor meetings and for them to share the financial reports, usually the stuff that we have like other people that attend those types of events and like translate it. So
yeah,
maybe at least now it'll be more visible on Twitter and hopefully translated into English.
Yeah, maybe. Barry, any thoughts about any of these stories?
I mean, it's great to see, some slight information on Bayonetta 3. We've been waiting for a long time, and sucks to hear about Super Nintendo World. But yeah, I mean, it's a COVID world. COVID's definitely affecting all things. Bayonetta 3 probably being one of them as well. But I'd rather, that game come out when it's fully done and realized and ready. And I'll tell you, after doing these DMC games, I'm ready for it because that was his baby, So let's bring it on. Bring on Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Funny thing is, all day, Greg, I'm so glad that I finally figured it out right before I passed it to you earlier, because I'd been reading it as Super Mario 35 word count event, and I had been doing it all day long, and I had no idea why are they doing a word count event. So I'm so glad I finally figured it out right before you talked about it. It's a world count event. So that's so important, that L. Yeah, I same with you guys. I think this is all good news. Hopefully it will translate to more good news in the future. We find out more about Bayonetta 3. Things getting delayed. I think even when amusement parks get delayed during COVID, and maybe that'd make for a better amusement park in the end. We'll focus on the positive sides, maybe. Oh man.
Yeah.
What was that, Greg?
What's the big phrase a delayed game is better than a rushed game or whatever it is?
There we go. So a delayed theme park is better than a rushed theme park. Actually, I think that's pretty true.
That is pretty true.
I can stand behind that statement for sure. Definitely don't want a rushed theme park whatsoever.
Oh, come on, we need a sequel to Action Park. Let's go.
Dangerous things to happen. Jakester says he's excited about a new Twitter because must mean a new Direct's coming soon. Maybe.
What were we saying last week? A new direct. Yeah,
yeah,
still not happening.
Right. And he's issuing me an L for Luigi. That is. Let's talk about. Before we move into upcoming games, we want to just make sure that you guys do hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, hit all the buttons. Just have at it. Just go crazy. Hit all the buttons. And while you're at it, you can also hit the button to join us on social media. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at NintendoFuse. And you can also find us on Discord. If you have not joined us over there, be sure to do that. The link is on the screen and also in the show notes and the description down here below on YouTube. We would love for you guys to continue in our conversation, connect with us, and keep talking games in between episodes. That's the best place to do it. Also, just a reminder, we are doing some giveaways next episode. So if you are watching after the fact, just throw a comment. Anything that we talked about, any thoughts that you had, just throw a comment down in the comment section, and be sure to subscribe to us. That way you just lock in your chance of getting something on our next podcast. But if you are listening after the fact and you're listening on a podcast app, be sure to just head over to youtube.com/NintendoFuse. You'll find this episode and just leave your comment right there on the video, and we'll be sure to see it and give away those winners next podcast. So we're really excited about that. Speaking of which, that is on January 26th. That'll be episode 219. All right. With that being said, let's jump into our final segment and talk about the games that are coming up over this next week. As kind of scroll them on the screen, we'll see that there's a few games that might tickle your fancy, as you if you will. But it's a lot of games that I've not even heard of. So All Walls Must Fall, Audie the Housekeeper, Sally Face, Froderick the Driver. All these games start coming out on tomorrow through next week. Anything that you guys are looking over the list and you're like, yeah, I'm really excited about that at all, or anything that else that you're hoping to be planning to play over this next week? Greg, how about you?
Not like off the bat. Nothing really sounded like it was going to be something that I was going to be picking up. I do have quite a backlog of stuff, including I've already said like Phoenix Immortals and even Age of Calamity that I haven't even opened yet. So none of this stuff was really jumping out to me to get for this next week.
Yeah. Pretty much the same here. Barry, anything that jumps out at you, or are you planning on catching up on some other games before 3D World comes out?
Oh no! Well, I mean, Altia Reza 2 is coming out. That's the only game here that I've seen that's actually a good game. Cyber Shadow 2. Cyber Shadow actually looks really good on the 26th. But no, none of these I will be playing. Oh, Genosa is coming out too. There's some good games. There are some good games in the list. But none of these will be ones I'll be playing right away. I'm planning to do Raging Loop, and after that, possibly Cross Code, or I don't know. I got 2 weeks before Ys 9 drops, and that's my first game, even before Mario 3D World. So I don't know. We'll see what I do.
Nice. Yeah. None of these are ones that I'm jumping on right away. Jake's just curious if Chess Royale is a game against 99 players. That would be really great if it was a battle royale chess game.
For $2.99, you could find out.
Hey, for $2.99, I'd jump on it. I would totally get that. No, actually, a game that What was that, Greg?
I was gonna say, yeah, because Tetris is free, so like $2.99 for 99 plus chess players. That's a great deal there.
Yeah, for sure. The game that I'm probably gonna jump into over this next week is a game that I kind of forgot about and just was reminded of it just like yesterday, I think. Is Space Invaders Forever, I think is what it's called. I love the old shmups and all those games, and so I'm excited to jump into that. And they actually, interesting thing is it comes in there's like 2 games in one, because there's sort of always also this Arkanoid and Space Invaders kind of combination game. And when you download it, you get 2 different games. So it's not like one menu that kind of just pick your game when you get into it. It actually downloads both games separately as 2 different icons on your Switch, which I thought was just interesting way to go about it. So I think it's called Space Invaders Forever, I think is what it is. But yeah, it's kind of like a modern kind of take at Space Invaders. So I'm looking forward to checking that out over this next week, and maybe jumping into Hyrule Warriors again and some of those other games. Hopefully I got a little more free time to play some games over this next week, but we'll see.
That's interesting, because Space Invaders Forever did get a physical release, and it actually has 3 games on it, not 2. Space Invaders Extreme, Space Invaders Gigamex 4 SE, and Arkanoid versus Space Invaders. But then there's also the big Space Invaders collection, which is coming out physically in America, or not actually in America, it's Europe, from Strictly Limited. It also got a Japanese release, and that has like 9 different Space Invaders on it.
Interesting.
So,
I wonder I wonder if, because I haven't fired it up yet, I wonder if it does have those 3 games, but I wonder if the other 2 Space Invaders games are together and then the Arkanoids is separate. But it is still interesting that they have separate, like, icons, even because they all included in one in the physical. So that is weird.
Well, a lot of companies. I bet if you took that physical card and put it in there, it would create multiple icons.
Oh, okay. So you haven't.
It's an MAC multiple application card.
Oh, okay. I thought you had tried it and you knew that it was only one.
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No, I didn't try it because I was time and I've been waiting for the one from Strictly Limited, which has more games in it. So it's like, instead of getting those 6 games, the one from Strictly Limited, it's the Invincible Collection. It's still available for pre-order. It has Space Invaders from 1978, the arcade, Space Invaders in black and white and color, Space Invaders Part 2, 79 arcade, Majestic 12, the Space Invaders Part 4 from 1990, the arcade in arcades, Super Space Invaders 91 from arcades, Space Invaders Extreme, Space Invaders Gigamex 4 SE, Arkanoid versus Space Invaders, Space Invaders DX from 1994, the arcade, Space Cyclone from 1980, the arcade, and Lunar Rescue from 1979 in arcades.
Wow.
So you're getting a lot of games there.
I'd say. Wow. Well,
so that's the collection that I would suggest going for.
Nice. I may have to look into that then.
There's 10% left in stock from Strictly Limited. It's It's European release, but it doesn't matter because it's all in English and it plays in English for you.
How much is it going for?
€59.99 euros.
Okay. But
I don't know if
what, like $5 a game at that point.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games.
11 games, so less than $5 a game.
Yeah, there is a collector's edition as well. That actually is €100. There's actually still more of that left too. The collector's edition comes with official book, sticker sheet, acrylic cards, the soundtracks, two different soundtracks. It comes with 4 instruction cards. It comes with 6 flyers, all in like a box that's replica of the actual boards from the arcade.
Wow.
Like the arcade boards you would buy. So if you're a big Space Invaders fan, I definitely recommend that.
I don't know if I'm that big of one, but that does sound pretty cool though. I find it hard with those like collections, because I've even seen like the Capcom collections and things like that especially when they have like multiple versions of the same game. Like, it's kind of cool, but I don't play them all. I usually find my favorite, and I just go back to my favorite one over and over again. And I found that, like, on the 1-Up arcade cabinets, like, they have some of those sometimes that have just, like, the same version, but it's, like, 3 different versions of the same game. I'm like, okay, like, but I'm only going to play probably one of those if I was to get it. So it's kind of one of those weird things, like, they'll tout it as, oh, cool, we got, like, 7 games on here. Well, 3 of them's basically the same game. Like,
from what I heard, Arkanoid versus Space Invaders is like the gem. And with the Japanese release, that was actually a download code. So if you bought the Japanese physical, it was a download code only. But the Strictly Limited one actually has it on Kart.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's everything. And the Space Invaders Forever, of course.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm excited to check it out even more now. Greg, anything else you got going on this next week that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I did just take a quick peek at one of the games called Timothy and the Mysterious Forest, and I'm just getting like super Link to the Past vibes. Like, just looking at the screenshots, I'm like, is this legit? Because those trees look exactly like they did in Link to the Past.
I think that's interesting. Like, the more and more we find these things, and I'm like, how is Nintendo letting this slide by anymore? Barry,
it is
okay.
Yeah, it's a game very similar to like a Zelda style, so it's like action adventure and stuff. But it's just very interesting to see like the graphic style looks super close, like they just used like the Link to the Past engine.
They didn't even care. Well, thank you guys so much for being here for episode 218. Again, one more reminder: if you have not left a comment on this video, not in the chat, that's an actual comment later on this video, be sure to do so, and we'll pick some random winners for some game giveaways and some other stuff next week. So be sure to do that. Again, we're the giveaways on episode 219. So you got 1 week from this recording to leave a comment, and also be sure you're subscribed. That's all you need to do. Subscribe, leave a comment, and you'll be entered into the contest to win some giveaways on episode 219. But yeah, it brings us to the end of episode 218. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time. Happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you guys next time.